I'm a Foundation Associate at the Wyomissing Foundation. Karen Reitmeyer, who could not be with us this morning, is at another meeting with the county commissioners, but she's our president. I just want to take a quick minute to tell you about the Wyomissing Foundation and then introduce our speakers. The Wyomissing Foundation was established in 1926. We're a small private foundation with 4 part-time staff members and 1 full-time office manager. We make a variety of grants to nonprofits in the area with the focus of trying to impact the most critical issues that are affecting the core of our community. In 2010, we made a strategic decision to allocate almost half of our dollars to community and economic redevelopment in the core of the community, with the overall goal of trying to increase wealth for the residents here in one of the poorest cities in the country. Our community and economic development work is guided in the direction of Jim Hartling with Urban Partners out of Philadelphia. He's done such programs, such successful programs with the Avenue of the Arts in Philadelphia and the downtown revitalization in Savannah, Georgia. So very much behind the scenes, the Wyomissing Foundation has been able to make significant impact in 4 specific locations in the core of the community. So this morning you're going to hear from Daniel A. Kuskiza, we'll talk about the Community Task Force in the south of Penn area of Reading. Then Andrea Bensusan will talk about our partnership with the 13th and Union partnership with Albright College in the northeast part of Reading. And then also back to Daniel, who will talk about Barrio Alegria, which is a nonprofit, grassroots nonprofit, right in the heart of the city, of which the Wyomissing Foundation is also a funder. So I think you're really going to enjoy what they have to say about what they've done and what the plans are for 2019. Thank you.
Okay, so I had something planned, because I figured by this time people would be asleep or half asleep. Thank you, Bonnie, for making us wake up so early. But I feel that we have a really good awareness right now. I just flew back from Moscow, so my body is fighting itself. But we have a slideshow, I believe, that we can get to. That's going to be talking a little bit about Barrio. However, no, but in a little bit. So the South of Penn Task Force is what I'm going to be talking a little bit about. And the actual coordinator for the project, Tony Velosa, is here, who's going to be talking a little bit about that as well. There are 3 goals that the South of Penn Task Force has, which is to increase home ownership in the South of Penn area. That's what SOP, the South of Penn Task Force stands for. Increase home ownership in the South of Penn. Improve livability conditions for neighbors in the South of Penn, and to increase interpersonal relationships in the South of Penn. So we had a huge goal with that, and the Wyomissing Foundation was courageous enough to be the main player in this, and said, okay, we're going to give funds to have somebody go and do this work. So those 3 goals are really, really important, but they're also very, very difficult. The South of Penn region is defined by the starting on 2nd Street, which is, I think is 2nd Street, which is where RAC is located, goes all the way to the train tracks, and then goes from Franklin Street all the way to Canal Street. So that's our area of impact. And so we spent the whole year basically just surveying people in the South and doing some events, but we learned really, really quickly that events wasn't going to gain the trust of people in the South and in our community. Building trust is something very, very important and something that takes a lot of time. So we learned through these 2 years, we were in our second year, entering our third year of work, we learned that people were used to seeing folks coming into the community, trying to do something nice, but then right after they were done, they would leave right out. So there was this one specific story that somebody told me in the neighborhood that said, you know, there was a group that came and took ownership of this park. They looked at the park and they said, oh wow, this park has a lot of prostitution, has a lot of drug use. So we want to clean up this park. So the group came, started cleaning up the park, and after 2 months, this park started thriving. It looked very nice, it was clean, it had flowers, it had flower plants, pots. And so 3 months into the project, the group that had adopted this park said, okay, well, there's another park in the north side, so we were gonna go do that. So we need somebody to start taking care of this park now once they're done. So they went and started knocking on doors of the neighbors and started saying, oh, hey, can you meet with us to take care of this park? So the answer of the neighbor was, that's not our park, that's your park. You came, you took over it, you started planting it, you started cleaning it. Good luck with it, that's not our park. So 6 months into the project, when this group wanted to move to the next project, they realized that they had gone the wrong way. So that's one of the learnings that we have found, which is immediately from the get-go, even though it takes a much longer time, you have to start with knocking on doors and finding out, do people really want flowers in front of their houses? And this is a discussion that we often have with Tony, because once you go into the area of impact, you realize that, oh my goodness, flowers would look very nice here because it would improve the look of the house, of the neighborhood. But then when you go and knock on people's doors and ask them, do you want flowers here? They say, no, that looks just fine. Just put a trash can there so that, instead of having flowers there. So the second thing that we have learned has been that people really truly care about their neighborhood, but they don't necessarily fit into what we sometimes devise as ways of outreach. So we said, okay, we're gonna have community meetings. So to us, a community meeting is like we all come together, we sit down and we share conversations over food. So on our first community meeting, we blasted it out all over the south of Penn, and 16 people came that were very involved. They were really adamant about creating change. The second meeting, half came, so we only had 8 people. And the third meeting, we had half of that, so only 4 people. And then we said, okay, we need to change our method. So we need to take a look at what accessibility looks like. For us, I work my full-time, my part-time job. My job is outreach coordinator for the Reading Public Library. And when I started there, outreach meant translate this flyer into Spanish and go out there and let people know what it is, that you're doing. Learn everything that you're doing and then share it with the community. But we realized very quickly that that's not accessibility really. So we said, okay, back to South of Penn, we said, how do we bring people into the conversation without really making them fit into this like square cube idea of what a community meeting looks like. So we created a poster, and then we divided it into 4 quadrants. And based on the survey results that we had gotten, we said, okay, so the four main problems that the community has identified have been trash, number 1. Number 2, it has been homeownership. Okay. Number 3, it has been security, and then the 4th we said, okay, it's something else. So we created 4 quadrants, And so we set up outside of a bodega, which is where we